Welcome to Abergavenny Baptist Church.
Life, faith, together.
Be silent before me, you islands. Let the nations renew their strength. Let them come forward and speak. Let us meet together at the place of judgment. Who has stirred up one from the east, calling him in righteousness to his service? He hands nations over to him and subdues kings before him. He turns them to dust with his sword, to wind-blown chaff with his bow. He pursues them and moves on unscathed, by a path his feet have not travelled before. Who has done this and carried it through, calling forth the generations from the beginning? I, the Lord, with the first of them, and with the last, I am he. The islands have seen it and fear, the ends of the earth tremble. They approach and come forward, each helps the other and says to his brother, "Be strong." The craftsman encourages the goldsmith, and he who smooths with the hammer spurs on him who strikes the anvil. He says of the welding, "It is good." He nails down the idol so that it will not topple. But you, O Israel, my servant Jacob, whom I have chosen, you descendants of Abraham, my friend, I took you from the ends of the earth, from its farthest corners. I called you, I said, "You are my servant." I have chosen you and have not rejected you. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand.
Let's turn, though, and look at this passage now. And as we do so, I've got a question for you. I wonder, can you tell the link between these four pictures? Any ideas? Let me tell you, they are all to do with number ones in the United Kingdom charts. So the first picture there, Elvis Presley, he has the most number ones of any artist, which is 21, and the most weeks at number one, which is 80 across the various songs that he released. Then Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, that is the longest number one consecutive weeks. For 16 weeks, it was number one. Al Martino, Here in My Heart, Granada, that was the first number one back in November 1952. And then the last one there is Kylie Minogue with XMAS, which was number one at Christmas in 2025. I nearly said this year. All number ones. I don't know if you have Spotify in your house, and if you do, maybe, like my eldest daughter, you were really looking forward to that day that comes sometime around November or December for Spotify Wrapped. That time where it tells you what your number one listened to song is for the year and other things about your listening habits. This idea of the top of the charts led me on to thinking about other things as well. I looked on Song Select, which is where many churches get their music from and report. So I thought, I wonder what the top 3 songs were in 2025 that was sung in churches. I don't know if you've got any ideas, but I'll tell you the top 3. In third place was 10,000 Reasons. In second place, The Goodness of God. And first place, Holy Forever. So those were the top 3. And then I thought about Bible versions. Does anyone use the YouVersion on their phone? Yeah, a few of you do. Some of you may use Bible Gateway if you go onto on your desktop or laptops. I use Bible Gateway when I'm working at my computer. It's the most used website, Christian website there is, with 70 million views a week. The YouVersion Bible has been downloaded 160 million times. It's available in 740 languages and over 1,000 versions of the Bible. And I use that quite regularly as well. And I had a message, an email at the end of 2025 that said this: why don't you look at the most used verse of 2025? And what they mean by that is the verse that is highlighted the most, or bookmarked, or shared with other people the most. And it's the verse, one of the verses that we've read today from Isaiah 41, verse 10, which says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And I thought, as I was coming to prepare, I thought, actually, wouldn't it be great to look at that verse in context, to understand some more of why it is such a popular verse? Bobby Grunwald, who's the founder and CEO of YouVersion, said, "I think this verse keeps rising to the top because it addresses one of our deepest needs, the assurance that we're not alone. In a world full of anxiety and uncertainty, people are drawn to God's promise to be with us, to strengthen us, and to help us." So we're going to look at this, and we've already heard it read in some context, and I want to put a little bit more of the context around it. The first thing is that this is a particular period of history for the people of Israel and Judah. The southern kingdom of Judah was conquered in 586 BC. And the Babylonians who conquered them had a particular policy that they used. They would take the professionals from the land that they had conquered and move them to a new land, a new place to live. They didn't make life difficult for them there. What they would do is they would teach them the language, teach them things about the culture, give them the food that they needed, so that they were settled in a new place. And if you think about it, it's a great policy to have, because if you take the best people out of one land, those people who might organize a rebellion against the invasion, you take them out and you put them and you disperse them in lots of different places so they can't get together and plot. And so here they are, and for a number of years they have this new position as exiles, wishing that they could go back, but actually in a place of stability, a place where the future is relatively settled. And then there is an uprising from the east. We hear that in the early verses. Verse 2, we are asked the question, who has stirred up one from the east? This is Cyrus, who is the ruler of Persia. And what the Persians were doing now is exactly what the Babylonians had done 45 years or so before. And they were threatening to come and overrun the Babylonian Empire. And so imagine what that's like for the people there. Suddenly, the future is uncertain. The future is threatening. The future is full of anxiety. This is the bad news for the people in the Bible at the day as this context for this passage. If we stop for a moment and think, if this is bad news in the Bible, it probably doesn't take us long to identify that there is similar problems for us in the world today, as we can look to the future and find that it's a threatening place that's uncertain, that causes a lot of anxiety. Look at the world situation for a start. If we look at, even what's happened over recent weeks, look at Iran, for example, and the uprising and the protests that there have been there. What's next for them? I was taking a service in Tredegarville Baptist Church as a midweek service, and I was taking it on Tuesday, and there were a number of Iranian asylum seekers who were there. One of them was on the phone at that time because he was still trying to get through to family in Iran to find out if they were okay. The uncertainty and the anxiety about what the future holds. Other things that have happened over the last couple of weeks, we look at the American action against Venezuela. We look at the situation here about what's going on with Greenland. And I've not even mentioned the war in Ukraine and the uncertainty about that. And what will that lead to, and how's that going to affect what happens in the future? And we may feel like for many of those things, we're a little bit further away. We're a bit remote. But for all of us, we live in a world which is uncertain. The future is unknown. And that can cause us anxiety and worries. Let me give you a few stories. Let me tell you about Harvey. Harvey is around 50 years old, happily married with 3 children and doing a job he really enjoys. Except not so long ago, he was told that there was a restructuring of the company and he was going to be made redundant. At first, he was fairly positive and thought, well, I'll look and I'll apply and I'll get another job. I'm skilled, I'm a professional, I've got lots of experience, it will be okay. Except for all the applications he's put in, he's got no job. And now the time has come where he is finishing at the company, and suddenly the future is most uncertain. Will he be able to continue to pay the mortgage? What will it mean for the whole of the family? And to be honest as well, he feels a sense of rejection and failure because he's unable to get a job. Then there's Hazel. Hazel and her husband have been really looking forward to retirement. They have plans to do some travel. They also have grandchildren that they want to play their part in looking after and seeing them grow up. Except Hazel's not been so well recently, and she's been to the hospital and is having all sorts of tests. They've mentioned all sorts of possible diseases while they're exploring, which sound most horrific. Suddenly, the future seems most uncertain, worrying, full of anxiety. And then there's Michelle. Michelle's in her 20s and married with a young child, happy, and everything was going along just fine, until one day her husband came in and said he was leaving and moving in with another woman. And now suddenly she's there as a single parent, looking after a young child alone, worried about what the future will bring. How is she going to cope? And feeling a huge amount of rejection. Just some stories of what some people face in life. As you are here today, what's your story? Do you have a story that reveals anxiety and worry about the future? Because you're really not sure what it contains. What's it going to be like? Is it going to be okay? Are you going to cope? And then, here, Isaiah 41, verse 10. In the midst of all this bad news, the Lord says, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. You see, when we are worried about what the future might be, when we are concerned, when we are anxious, we turn to think about who God is as well. And what is God doing? And then it's important for us to have a healthy perspective of who God is. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those pictures where people are deliberately setting out to show a wrong perspective. I've got a few examples here. There's one. Clearly that person can't pick up the tower like that. Here's another one, making the bucket look really big. Or a third one, looking like you can hold the sun in your hands. These things are all out of perspective. And it's important when we're facing an uncertain future, when we might be anxious about it, when we think about God, we need to make sure that we have the right perspective. There were two big questions that the people of Israel and Judah, those who were exiled, had at the time. The first question was this: where is God? You see, lots of the nations had gods that they worshipped, and they tended to believe this: the most powerful God would win. So if you came into battle, if your God was the powerful God, then it would mean that you would win as a nation. So what did that say for the people of Israel and Judah when they were defeated? It says, is God the most powerful one out there? Is he really in control of what's happening? And we hear this. This is some of the context for these early verses. It's almost like we have this court scene set up as God commands the nations. He says, be silent before me, you islands. Let the nations renew their strength. Let them come forward and speak. Let us meet together at the place of judgment. He's inviting them to say, here's the evidence now. You might be asking, is the God of the people of Israel and Judah, has he been defeated? Is he so distant? Is he so remote? He says, come before me. And he asks the question, who has stirred up one from the east, called him in righteousness to his service? The question is repeated in verse 4. Who has done this and carried it through, calling forth the generations from the beginning? And now he answers, I, the Lord, with the first of them and with the last. I am he. And what he's saying to them is, it may feel like the gods, the other gods and other political powers, it may feel like they are powerful, but I was at the beginning, I will be at the end. And what we discover is God is at work in the world. When things go wrong for us, when we have bad news, when the future feels so uncertain, we can ask the question, where is God? Is he so distant? Is he so remote that he hasn't noticed me? Does he even exist? This can be a moment where people have doubts. Here is the truth revealed in this passage. God is at work in the world. God is at work in our situations. And he says to us, do not fear, for I am with you. You know, the most repeated command in the Bible is not be obedient. It's not be good. It's do not be afraid. Do not be afraid, for God is with you. Are you going through difficult times right now? Are you facing an uncertain future? Are you full of anxiety about what it holds? Hear this, God is at work in the world. Do not fear, for he is with you. The second question that they had, has God rejected me? You see, they understood why they were in this situation. Read all of the Old Testament that goes before this passage, and you will see the story repeated again and again and again. The people of God, chosen by him, loved by him, are disobedient. They reject God's ways. They choose to go their own way. And now, in this moment, they see their punishment of what's happened. Here we are, exiled. We've been defeated. Has God abandoned us? Are we too bad now? Are we no longer God's chosen people? Hear these verses. Verse 8, but you, Israel, my servant Jacob, whom I have chosen, you descendants of Abraham, my friend, I took you from the ends of the earth, from its furthest corners I called you. I said, you are my servant. I have chosen you and have not rejected you. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. And we need to hear this as well, because my experience in pastoral ministry over 25 years now is that there are people who carry guilt around with them, who look at what they've done and are ashamed at some of their actions from the past, who believe that God cannot bless them but must really punish them. When difficult things happen, it's my own fault. I've messed up. I've messed up once too often. I've messed up too badly. God's rejected me. Except that is not the gospel message. The gospel message is that our God is a God full of love, who forgives and forgives and forgives, who keeps moving towards us, who reaches out towards us, who will never reject us, who will always welcome us back when we say sorry. So if you are here carrying guilt this morning, we can say sorry to God. Know that he forgives, and know that he does not reject us, and know that he is not punishing us when bad things happen to us. Instead, he says, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. And it leads us to a question. What do we do about it? Has anyone been watching The Traitors? Some of you, don't give me any spoilers. My children enjoy watching it, and I'm watching it with them at times when I get the chance. For those of you that don't know what The Traitors is, there's a group of about 20 or so people who are brought together. They do various tasks, which earns a certain amount of money to go into a prize pot. That prize pot will be divided with those who are left in the game at the end. The twist is that there are some people who are allocated the roles of faithfuls, and there are some who are traitors. If there are any traitors left at the end of the game, they get the whole pot of money. So you have to work out, who are the traitors amongst us? 3 people out of 20 are designated as traitors. Who do I trust? It's a big question that isn't actually just in a game like that. It's a question that all of us are asking all of the time. Who do we trust? You know, when we get that email where we don't recognize the email address and it's inviting us to open up a particular attachment, do I trust this? When we need work done on our houses and we get quotes in from workmen, there's that question as they come in, are they giving me a fair price? Will they do the work to the required standard? Who do I trust? And the question comes to us in these things with an uncertain future when we don't know what's going to happen. Who do we trust? Who are we going to trust? God's strength or our own? Let's have a look at what happens here in verses 6 and 7. The islands have seen it and feared. The ends of the earth tremble. They approach and come forward. They help each other and say to their companions, be strong. The metal worker encourages the goldsmith, and the one who smooths with the hammer spurs on the one who strikes the anvil. One says of the welding, it is good. The other nails down the idol so it will not topple. You see what's happening here? This is the creation of an idol that represents a god. And they're encouraging each other. They're saying, let's put faith in what we're making. Let's put faith in what we're doing. There's a fascinating little thing there where it says, one says of the welding, it is good. Takes us back to Genesis. What did the God of creation say when he saw all that he had made? It is good. What are they saying when they make something that is an idol to worship? They're saying it is good. In other words, they are making their own things gods, not looking to God. And that's what we do today as well. Not in the same way, we're not going around making idols to worship, but we do place our trust in things that we are in control of very often. We may place our trust in our own intelligence, our own ability. We may place trust in our money to provide security for the future. We may provide our trust in our status and what that earns us. We can find our trust in so many places. And yet, as we face an uncertain future, we will discover this. None of those things that we put our trust in, that we provide for ourselves, will last for all of eternity. There is only one we can trust, in whom our future is completely certain. You see, bad things happen in this world. There is bad news. But we have a God who says, I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And we get a sense of that in this lifetime when we face difficulties. But the fullness of that promise is not for now, not for this lifetime, but it's what happens when we die and we are raised to life with Jesus for all eternity. You see, God is creating a new world, a new heaven and a new earth. A new heaven and a new earth where there is no pain, no more pain. There is no more crying. There is no more illness. There is no more death. For the old order of things have passed away. This future, for those who believe in him, is certain that we will be with him for all of eternity, where all that is wrong in this world will be put right. Will we trust in him so that even through the difficult times, even through the uncertainties and the anxieties and the worries and the troubles and the pain, we will know that our God is in control. We can trust him. Will we make him our number one for this year and for the whole of our lives? When we do, I believe we will know the wonder of Isaiah 41 verse 10. And it will be a verse that will give us strength this year and every year. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. May we know this God as we journey through an uncertain 2026. Amen.
Thank you for watching.
For more information, please visit our website, abergavenybaptist.co.uk.